Well, hello class. I hope you all are doing good. And today in this lecture, we are going to study the Koch postulate. Okay. So first of all, what is Koch postulate? Who gave it? Right. So this postulate was proposed by it was proposed by Robert Koch in 1881. Well, so it is a postulate which was proposed by Robert Koch in 1881. Correct? Well, let us know something about Mr. Robert Koch, and then we will study the postulate given by him, that is Koch's postulate. Now, Robert Koch was one of the most renowned bacteriologists. Okay, so he was a bacteriologist. Okay, now who is a bacteriologist? Uh, the scientists or the people who study about bacteria are called bacteriologists. Okay, the study of bacteria is called bacteriology. So those who do bacteriology are called bacteriologists, and Robert Koch is one of the most renowned bacteriologists, and he has a lot of contribution in his name, such as he discovered bacteria such as mycobacterium, okay, especially Mycobacterium leprae, Mycobacterium or Vibrio cholerae, the bacteria which causes cholera. Okay, so Robert Koch is the person who discovered these two bacteria, Mycobacterium and Vibrio cholerae. Not only this, he also worked on anthrax disease, and during this he worked on the causative agent of anthrax, that is a bacteria called Bacillus anthracis. Bacillus anthracis. Okay, so Robert Koch has done a lot of work on bacteria and bacterial diseases. Okay, now because of his these contributions, significant contributions like discovery of Mycobacterium, Vibrio cholerae, uh, work on anthracis, okay, anthrax disease caused by Bacillus anthracis, and the most renowned work, that is the proposition of Koch postulate. He is regarded as father of modern bacteriology. Okay, so father of modern bacteriology is Robert Koch. Great. So this is a brief, biography of Robert Koch. Now, Robert Koch gave this Koch postulate. What this postulate is, let us see. Okay, let me resize this window. And, well, so what is this Koch postulate? Why it is of so much importance? Now, Koch postulate. See, what Robert Koch did was he uh, developed a method. He gave some guidelines using which you can identify the causative organism of a particular disease, especially the bacterial disease. Okay, so Koch postulate is a method, okay, or you can say it is a postulate using which one can scientifically prove uh, scientifically prove a microorganism is the pathogen for a particular disease. Okay, so what is Koch postulate? It is a method or postulate using which one can scientifically prove that a microorganism is the pathogen for a particular disease. Now, let me explain it. Say, for example, you know that tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, right? Now, and hence, we say that Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the pathogen for the disease tuberculosis or TB. Great, you know it. But at some time point, somebody must have proven it that this particular bacteria is responsible for TB. That is, it is only the pathogen and not any other bacteria or any other microorganism, right? So Koch's postulate is that guideline, or it is that method using which one can determine that a particular disease is caused by this bacteria or this microorganism. Okay, what it is, let us see what this postulate says. So these postulate has the following points. Okay, number one, it says that the microorganism, okay, the, or I should say the suspected microorganism, okay, the suspected microbe, or you can say the suspected pathogen, should be present in all reported cases of that disease. Okay, so first point of this Koch postulate emphasizes that if if you are going to say that this particular microbe or pathogen is the, or the microbe is the pathogen for that disease, the first condition it should fulfill is this particular microbe should be found or be present in all the cases of that particular disease. Say, for example, if we are saying Mycobacterium tuberculosis is pathogen for TB, then in all the cases of TB, that all the patients which are suffering from TB should must have this particular bacteria. Okay, so the suspected microbe, that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, should be present in all reported cases of that disease. We are here as an example, we are treating TB as the disease, right? Great. Second point of this postulate says that the suspected pathogen should be isolated from the patients and grown in pure culture. Okay, so what is the second point saying? The second point saying is uh, the suspected pathogen or the microorganism should be isolated from the patient. So suppose there are patients, so from these patients you should be able to isolate this pathogen or microorganism and then grow it in the lab in pure culture. Pure culture means in that particular dish, inside lab, we grow the microorganism in a dish called Petri dish. Okay, it is a circular uh, glass glass structure. Okay, which has a lid covering to it. So that is called a Petri dish. It is a kind of plate in which we grow the bacterium or other microorganisms, right? So what Koch postulate is saying here is the microorganism or the suspected microorganism should be isolated from the patient, okay, and it should be grown in the lab in pure culture, so that in this Petri dish there should be only this bacterium growing and there will be no other microorganism growing. That is called pure culture. Okay, great. What is the third point? Okay, so the third point of the Koch postulate says that the same disease should be, or I should say must be reproduced in reproduced upon injection of the suspected pathogen from pure culture in healthy volunteers. Sorry, volunteers. Okay. So the third point says that if you are able to reproduce this disease in a perfectly healthy person by injecting the pure culture of this microbe, then it will be kind of a proof, right? So the third point is like, you take a healthy volunteer and inject this healthy volunteer or healthy person or the healthy subject, that can be any animal or even human, with the pure culture of the suspected pathogen. And if after injection the subject or the human being develops the same disease, then you can think that this pathogen is this uh, microbe is the pathogen. Okay, there is one more step to it. So there is a fourth point in the Koch postulate, and this point says that the suspected pathogen should be recovered from the experimentally infected hosts. Okay, so now can you see the fourth point says that again you have to isolate this pathogen from the experimentally infected hosts. Okay, let me zoom in. So these are the 4 points, or these are the 4 uh, guidelines given by Mr. Koch, and these are known as Koch postulate. What they say, that in order to prove that a particular microorganism is the pathogen, or you can say the causative agent for a disease, that pathogen should fulfill all these 4 criteria or these 4 guidelines, which we know as Koch postulate. What are these? First of all, this particular microbe should be present in all the reported cases of that particular disease. Secondly, one should be able to isolate this microorganism from the patients or infected hosts, and then after isolation, these microorganisms should be grown in pure culture in the lab condition, and then you have to inject this pure culture into a healthy volunteer or healthy subject, and that particular organism or the host should again develop the same disease. Okay, once these organisms have developed the same disease, then again from these experimentally infected hosts or subjects, one should be able to isolate the same pathogen or also same suspected pathogen. Okay, so if a microorganism fulfill all these four criteria, then for sure we can say that this microorganism is the pathogen or is the causative agent for that particular disease. Getting it? So this is Koch's postulate. Well, and Koch's postulate is very accurate. If any microorganism fulfill all these four, or I should say any pathogenic or the microorganism that are known to cause disease in animals fulfill these four steps, then for sure that microbe is the pathogen, okay, for the respective disease. Well, however, there are some exceptions to it. Okay, what are the exceptions? So the exception for Koch's postulate is Mycobacterium, Mycobacterium leprae. Okay, now Mycobacterium leprae is exception because this particular bacteria does not grow in lab conditions, and if it does not grow, you cannot make a pure culture of this bacteria. Okay, we know that this bacteria is the pathogen, but we cannot prove it through the Koch postulate because we cannot grow it in the lab environment. Why it is so? Because it is obligate saprophytic. याद आया? It is obligate saprophytic and hence it is an exception. याद रखिएगा, it is very important. Okay, the another exception is Treponema pallidum. Okay, Treponema pallidum. Now this bacteria actually causes syphilis. Okay, we will talk about it, and this is also exception. So do remember Koch's postulate, the 4 points of Koch's postulate, and more importantly the exceptions of Koch's postulate. Okay, mostly the questions are from the exception. So Mycobacterium leprae and Treponema pallidum. Great. Also, just keep in mind about Robert Koch. He is the father of modern bacteriology, and he was the most renowned bacteriologist of his time. Okay, so this is it for this video lecture. In next video lecture, we will start blue-green algae. Okay, so far we have covered most of the aspects of eubacteria. In some cases, we have also encroached the space of other monerans. Okay, but now we are going to see rest of the monerans, that is other than eubacteria. We are going to study about blue-green algae. We will study about archaebacteria. We are going to study about rickettsia, about actinobacteria, and so on, maybe spirochetes and so on. Okay, great. So I hope you all will take good care of yourself, and with that, thank you.